I am now seeing people telling me and the world that Devin Haney versus Tank is not a bigger fight than Tank versus Tio. Y'all don't want the fight, man. Let's talk.
Straighter, not a roundhouse right hand.
And that's what we've been talking about. The straight shot is the one where he gets leverage on it.
I don't want to kill somebody
back
for
a little bit.
seconds.
Nah, I want a body on my record.
Now, I want to see you fight motherfuckers. I do. All right, I'm with you. I'm with you. As long as you're trying to fight the great, the best competition.
Welcome to the graveyard. Click the link if you dare to. Bury you alive, I'm prepared to. Welcome to the graveyard. You get your sources from clowns, so when you come around, we will hear you. Welcome to the graveyard. Click the link if you dare to. Bury you alive, I'm prepared to. Welcome to the graveyard. You get your sources from clowns, so when you come around, we will hear you. Yo, it's the best, fight the best. If you ain't with the moto, just click the link, bitch, and get buried like the rest. It ain't gonna work how you want it. These trolls already tried, too many come but don't leave. So if you hear, you gotta die. I'm spitting straight facts. These bitches crying cause they hate that. The LDBC's the top topic, bitch, hate that. We the ones that bring the truth to these fans. So while you hate, I'ma laugh and keep counting these bands. Welcome to the graveyard. Click the link, get prepared to. Bury you alive, I'm prepared to. Welcome to the graveyard. You get your sources from clowns, so when you come around, we don't hear you. Welcome to the graveyard. Click the link if you dare to. Bury you alive, I'm prepared to. Welcome to the graveyard. You get your sources from clowns, so when you come around, we don't hear you.
Welcome to the graveyard.
So, my homies, people that I actually watch, because I don't really watch a lot of people, but the people that I actually watch now, to get, different sets of views, because, people, you get to a point where you're hearing certain things and you're hearing that and you're hearing this and you just get stuck in those type of things. So it's always a good thing to get a different perspective, than just your own. Although I don't mind my echo chamber. I don't mind it at all because I'm yelling facts against the wall and the facts are echoing back into my ears. So I'm fine with my own echo chamber. But again, I like to listen to other perspectives. And I like to listen to other opinions. Now, some of the people that I listen to, their opinion is that Teofimo Lopez versus Tank Davis is a bigger fight than Teofimo Lopez versus Devin Haney. These people that say this are the same people that say to me that we should not be talking about nothing else except for Tank and Devin Haney. They're the same ones that say to me, want the same energy. We want that tank, that Thanksgiving energy. We want the showing the mugshot energy. That's what we want, because that's the only fight we want. That's the one we want. It's the biggest fight. The biggest fight in boxing. It's the biggest one. Now all of a sudden it's no longer the biggest fight in boxing. Now it's no longer. And there's people that are saying, oh man, yeah, Tio, it's a big fight, man. It's a big Tio and Tank is the biggest fight. Tio and Tank. Teofimo Lopez is not moving back down to 135 to fight Tank Davis. Not happening. Teofimo Lopez believes he's the A side to Tank Davis. Teofimo Lopez believes he's the A side to everybody. Teofimo Lopez believes that he himself is the one that brought boxing back. Teofimo Lopez believes that he's the biggest star in boxing. Him and Canelo. That's what he believes. And he's in his echo chamber echoing that to himself, that everybody's trying to be like him. 2-time undisputed champion, that he did it first. Everybody wanted to be undisputed after he did it. But he's never been undisputed. But according to him, he thinks he's a 2-time undisputed champion. According to him. Because he beat Lomachenko. But Lomachenko was not the WBC champion. Lomachenko was the WBC franchise champion. That's what he was. Because he vacated his WBC title. He vacated it. He accepted a status. So Teofimo Lopez was the undisputed status champion. He was not the undisputed 135-pound champion. He was the undisputed status champion because he did not have the WBC belt. But according to him, he thinks he was undisputed. Say it, according to him, he thinks by beating Josh Taylor, that made him undisputed. That's what he thinks. Oh, come on, BF. He's got a point, though, BF. Josh Taylor was undefeated, BF. He's got a point. Josh Taylor was undefeated. Josh Taylor was the lineal champion. He's a 2-time lineal champion, BF. He's got a point. Josh Taylor didn't lose the belts. He was stripped of the belts. He didn't lose them. He was undefeated. So that means Teofimo Lopez got a point. He's undisputed. Well, if Teofimo Lopez is 2-time undisputed, then why is Tyson Fury fighting Usyk? Tyson Fury has never lost. Tyson Fury beat Vladimir Klitschko for all 3 belts, WBA, the WBO, and the IBF. He's never lost it. He fought Deontay Wilder for the WBC title. So why are we talking about Usyk versus Fury for undisputed if Fury's already undisputed? And if Fury is already undisputed, then Fury beating Usyk, won't that make him 2-time undisputed? I mean, if we're using apples to apples, if we're using the same scenarios that you guys are using when it comes to Teofimo Lopez, if we're using that, then cool. Now, I understand you guys will rock with that statement because Tyson Fury has the complexion for the protection, so I understand you'll rock with that. But I sit here and I'm just like, Teofimo Lopez being a bigger fight with Tank than Tio and Devin, could that be because you guys don't believe Tio can beat Tank? Could that be the case more so than the reason why you're now saying that Devin versus Tank is not the biggest fight in boxing now? But it was before, but now it's not. Yeah, it was last year. Specifically at the end of all of that second half of last year, it was the biggest fight in boxing. Top 2, top 3, easy. Specifically then, but now all of a sudden it's not. Now all of a sudden Tio is the biggest fight in boxing for Tank. Tio. All right. So Tio's the biggest fight in boxing for Tank because Tio is Mexican. He's not Mexican. He speaks Spanish though, but he ain't Mexican. So Tio's fan base is the fan base that's going to come out there. That's the fan base that Tank is looking for. That Mexican fan base is going to come out there where Teofimo fight. Now, don't get it twisted. Tank versus Tio is a big fight. It is. It's a big fight. Not bigger than Tank and Devin, but it is a big fight, though. It's a very big fight. Now, again, what weight class is this at? What weight class? Because the last I checked, Teofimo Lopez was cutting weight. And it was so detrimental to his livelihood that he had to leave the weight class. Yeah, Devin wasn't cutting weight talking about he's got air in his lungs. He could have died if he stays fighting at 135. He could have died because of the weight cuts and all this. No, he didn't say all that. Devin was just making the weight correctly. Teofimo Lopez was the one out here talking about, man, I could have died. I can't stay at that way. I could have died. Teofimo Lopez was the one that was offered a rematch and turned it down with George Kambosos. Yeah. How come you guys aren't screaming about that? You're damn sure screaming about Devin and Lomachenko rematch. You're damn sure screaming about that. Yeah. You scream, oh, wow, Devin need to rematch Lomachenko, but he offered him a rematch. He offered him one. His only stipulation in his offer was to admit that Devin is a bad motherfucker. That's it. That's all he asked for. That's it. Just admit that these two kings got in the ring and Devin won. Doesn't matter if you believe he lost. Doesn't matter, bro. Just admit that two kings got in the ring and Devin won. So all you got to do is admit that, and they was going to give him a rematch. That's a factual statement. I was standing right there. That's a factual statement. They wouldn't. They refused. But we just glaze over that. We won't talk about that. That the man, Lomachenko, was offered a rematch. He was offered it. All he had to do was admit that two kings got in the ring and Devin won. That's it. A simple statement. But because those racist Peckerwoods, Those Lomachenko racist Peckerwoods couldn't admit that. They couldn't admit that the man lost to a black man. They couldn't admit that two kings got in the ring and one of them was black. They couldn't admit that. That's all they had to say. It wasn't like there was cameras around. They could have went back and lied and said they never said it. And I would have been like, you're lying because I was standing right there. But, they got the complexion for the protection, so you guys would have ran with it anyway. Oh, come on, man. Bill Haney's cap. Bill Haney's lying. Devin Haney's cap. Devin's lying. Loma never said that. Loma's team never said that. You're lying, BF. When I'm standing right there, but whatever. That's all y'all would have said. But they could have got a rematch. They chose not to do that. That's the reason why Bill was like, all right, cool then. And Devin will never lose to a white boy. And no, he said, and Devin didn't lose to a white boy. And we drove off. But you had an opportunity. Now, how come Tio didn't? How come, where's the hype? Where's the vim and vigor for Tio's rematch with George Kambosos? You know why Tio didn't rematch him? Because Tio said he couldn't make the weight. That's why he didn't rematch him. Yeah, Tio said it was detrimental to his life. Him and his dad said it was detrimental to their livelihood, to their living, to stay at 135. So if it was detrimental for them to living to stay at 135, and then they moved to 140, you think they just gained 5 pounds and that's it? You think Teofimo Lopez don't weigh 160 on fight night? Is that what you think? Is that what y'all believe? You believe Tio don't weigh 160 on fight night? Let me guess. Y'all gonna do a fight night weigh-in for Tank and Tio. You're gonna do a fight night. Y'all gonna weigh in the night before, and then you're gonna weigh in again on fight night, so that y'all can weigh just 140, and that's it. That's it. He's gonna weigh 140. You really think Tio's gonna do that? It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen at all. It's not gonna happen. And if Teofimo Lopez versus Tank Davis is the biggest fight in boxing because of the fan bases and the racial aspects and the knockout power and all this other nonsense, then why isn't Bob Arum calling Al Heyman? I don't see nobody telling me that that Teofimo Lopez is ducking Tank. Is Al Heyman's number different for Devin than it is for Tio? I'm just asking. I'm asking, is there a different number that Top Rank has to call for Al Heyman? I'm just asking. It's a simple question. Because if Teofimo Lopez wants to fight Tank Davis, then why isn't Team Teofimo Lopez calling Al Heyman? I don't see nobody saying, oh man, Tio ducking Tank, man. Why won't Tio call Al Heyman? Why ain't Teofimo Lopez calling Al Heyman? Why ain't Bob Arum calling Al Heyman to make the Tio fight? Because they ducking. They scared of Tank. They don't want no smoke with Tank. They scared. They ducking. I don't see nobody saying this. I don't see nobody. Not one person talking about how Tio is scared of Tank. Nobody. It's nowhere around. People are literally saying to me that Tank and Tio is a bigger fight than Tank and Devin because you don't want the fight. Now, in order for Tank and Tio to be a bigger fight, then that means there must be bigger money on the table. Now, what pay-per-views has Teofimo Lopez done to say that he's a draw at all? He never did 1.2 million. He never did 250,000. He never did 50,000. He never did 51,000. He never did 125,000. He never did 250,000. He never did none of that. He has never done a pay-per-view in his career, ever. Never. So how do we know he has drawing power at all? How do we know this? How do we know that he can draw? How do we know this? Free TV is one thing. Oh, well, look at his tickets and his gates and stuff. But if he's fighting Tank Davis, aren't those Tank's people? Or isn't the gate for Tank if Tio is fighting Tank? I know what y'all going to say in the comments. Oh, that's for Devin too. It's for everybody. It's for Devin too. I know, but I'm going to ask this question again. Isn't the drawing power for Tank and not Tio? The gates, all that, that's Tank stuff. The arena being filled, that's Tank's. That's Tank's. Tank don't care about the belt, so your WBO belt means absolutely nothing to him. Yeah, he cares about the butts and seats, the drawing power, the amount of money. Where is who's giving Tank 20 million guaranteed? Plus pay-per-view to fight Tio. Who's doing that? Who is giving Tank 20 million guaranteed to fight Tio? Let me guess, it's more realistic for those guys to take 5 million flat guaranteed and then to make 20 million on the pay-per-view, BF. That's more realistic. That sounds about right, BF. Nobody's giving 20 million. Or 20 million is a lie. That's cap. Bill's lying. Bill's capping. Devin's lying. Devin's capping. That 20 million is a lie. That 20 million is cap. $5 million to fight Teofimo Lopez guaranteed is a better deal. That's more realistic. That makes more sense to me. Yeah, because you guys don't want Devin versus Tank because you don't believe that Tank can beat Devin. That's why you don't want that fight. That's why it's more realistic to take 5 million guaranteed to fight Teofimo Lopez than it is to take 20 million guaranteed to fight Devin. Yeah, because there's a lot of quit in Tio. A lot of quit in Tio. Yeah, you know that Tio's going to go out there and try to throw some bombs. He ain't fast enough. He's going to get clipped, knocked out, knocked down, dropped. And you're going to say, oh, we like this fight because it's exciting. It's exciting. It's an exciting fight. Yeah, you don't want that one-sided ass whooping. You want, we like that's exciting. We want knockouts. Unless it's Deontay Wilder. If it's Deontay Wilder, then you want boxing. But, if it's anybody else, you want knockouts. So I understand. BF got it. Trust me, I got it. I got it. I understand. The Tank versus Tio is somehow now bigger than Tank versus Devin out of nowhere. So I'm guessing the weight doesn't matter. All this, Devin's got to go down to 135. Tank's comfortable at 135. None of that matters no more. Now it's okay for Tank to go to 140 and fight Tio. That doesn't matter. That cross promotional things don't matter. It don't matter. But one's with PBC and one's with Top Rank. None of that matters. None of that matters. None of that matters. That's because the biggest fight is the biggest fight. And those guys going to get the biggest bag with the biggest fights. None of that stuff matters. The only thing that matters is that Tank and Tio is the biggest fight in boxing. Tank and Tio is bigger than Tank and Devin. So that's the fight we want is the biggest fight in boxing. We want the biggest fight. We want Tank and Tio because that's bigger. Niggas don't even know why you want Tank and Tio. Nobody was mentioning Tank and Tio for 6 straight months. For 6 straight months. To include Tank Davis. Tank himself said, there's some guys I want to fight that are on my hit list, but I don't want to mention the names. Devin, yes. Loma, yes. Tio, yes. Actually, not so much Teofimo Lopez. Not really so much Teofimo. Not really. Yeah, not really. Okay, George Kambosos? Nah. Or anybody else? Yeah, there's one more, but I don't want to say his name. Shakur? Yes. So Tank himself says Devin, Loma, and Shakur. That's what Tank says. But y'all are telling me a bigger fight is him and Teofimo Lopez. Y'all are scared to death. Oh my God, y'all want no smoke with Devin. Y'all want no smoke. No smoke with Devin. I know y'all will be in the comments. That's cap. That's cap. Oh, I want Devin. We want Devin. We all want Tank and Devin. That's what we all want. Yeah. Yeah. Except for the fact that Tank and Tio is a bigger fight. So you want Tank and Devin, but Tank and Tio is bigger. So we shouldn't be talking about Devin versus nobody else. We shouldn't be talking about Devin doing nothing else. We shouldn't be talking about Devin going nowhere else. It's Devin versus Tank. That's all we should be talking about. And then you guys turn around and talk about everything else. Tank got a fight lined up, man. He got watched. Tank got he got a big fight coming up. Watch this. Tank versus Tio, man. That's a bigger fight, man. That's bigger to me. Man, Tank really need to worry about himself because these guys are trying to, he's so small, Tank so little. That's Tank needs to worry about him. He need to worry about these fighting these guys in his weight class, but then he'll fight Leo Santa Cruz. Can't make this up, bro. I can't make it up if I tried. I don't even think about this type of stuff. I literally have to rebut what y'all say. I have to rebut what y'all say. I don't even think about this type of stuff. No, the biggest fight in boxing, the biggest fight is Devin Haney and Tank. That's the biggest fight. That is it. If it isn't Devin and Tank, it's somebody at heavyweight. The Devin and Tank is top 3, top 2. Is Tio a big fight to fight Tank? Yes, but that's because of Tank. Tio brings nothing. Nothing. If you guys want to say, oh man, Devin only did 50,000, which is a lie. That's a lie. That is a blatant lie. Blatant. But if you want to say that, no problem. Then Devin did 50,000 more than Teofimo Lopez. He did 50,000 more. Yes. So we have 50,000% more knowledge that Devin is a bigger draw than Tio. 50,000% more knowledge because we have 50,000% more pay-per-views. We have 50,000. If that's the number y'all want to say it's a flop, blah, 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 it's a flop. Well, Teofimo Lopez is so much not a draw that they won't even put him on pay-per-view. Why wasn't Tio versus Loma on pay-per-view? It was for undisputed. Teofimo Lopez was undefeated. Teofimo Lopez was the IBF champion. Teofimo Lopez didn't have a franchise belt. Loma had that. Why wasn't that fight on pay-per-view? Because the people who put the money up did not believe it was a pay-per-view fight. Devin fought Vasil Lomachenko when the fight was on pay-per-view. This is Lomachenko who lost to Teofimo Lopez. Lost. He did not beat Tio. He lost. Lost. So when Loma had two belts, the WBA and the WBO, and Tio had the IBF, why wasn't that fight on pay-per-view? If Tio was a draw. If Loma was the draw. Neither one of them are a bigger draw than Devin Haney, which is why neither one of them fought on pay-per-view without Devin Haney. Neither one. The reason why Lomachenko versus Devin was a pay-per-view was because of Devin. That's why. Which is a proven fact because Lomachenko versus Tio was on free TV. So if the pay-per-view, they got to make a pay-per-view because Teofimo's a draw, well then we could say then, okay, that fight was on pay-per-view for Lomachenko. So if Loma fought Tio on pay-per-view and then Loma fought Devin on pay-per-view, the similarity in those scenarios is Lomachenko because Loma fought Tio on pay-per-view and then Loma fought Devin on pay-per-view. Devin never fought on pay-per-view. Tio never fought on pay-per-view. So then the pay-per-view draw, the pay-per-view attraction is Lomachenko because he fought Tio on pay-per-view and he fought Devin on pay-per-view. So the pay-per-view attraction, the draw, is Lomachenko. Yeah. Well, in this scenario, Lomachenko never fought on pay-per-view. Devin fought Lomachenko on pay-per-view. Lomachenko's next fight is not going to be on pay-per-view. The fight before that isn't on pay-per-view. Devin, next fight was on pay-per-view. Teofimo Lopez Regis Porgray never fought on pay-per-view. Devin did. So the pay-per-view draw, the pay-per-view attraction in this scenario is Devin. So Devin is the draw. Devin was the draw with Lomachenko. Devin is the draw. Was the draw with Regis Porgray. Devin. Now, where is the pay-per-view draw for Teofimo Lopez? For you guys to tell me that it's a bigger fight with Tank. Let's just say Tank brings in 1 million pay-per-view buys to fight Teofimo Lopez. Well, according to this scenario, this formula, Tio brings 0. 0 pay-per-view buys. Using the exact same scenario, if Tank brings his million pay-per-view buys to fight Devin with Devin's 50,000 pay-per-view buys, that's 1,050,000. Oh, BF, like my brother say, my homie KO say, oh man, they got the same fan base, BF. Says who? What are you talking about? Says who? Black people? Stop it. Stop it. There are hundreds of thousands of people who rock with Tank that don't rock with Devin, and they're black. And they won't buy Devin's pay-per-views, but they'll buy Tank's. And vice versa. And vice versa. Teofimo Lopez doesn't sell out all the time, bro. He don't sell out. Teofimo Lopez fights in specific locations in order to maximize the potential of the people around him, his environment. Because if he was the draw that anybody thinks he is, then his fight with George Kambosos would have been on pay-per-view as well. His fight with Lomachenko would have absolutely been on pay-per-view. Absolutely. Maybe not George Kambosos, but definitely Lomachenko. Definitely. That would have been his first pay-per-view fight with Lomachenko. Definitely. Absolutely. But yet it wasn't. Yet it wasn't. They billed it for Undisputed. Build it for that. And then put it on free TV. That tells you all you need to know. Because Devin's Undisputed title defense was on pay-per-view. So strictly by the numbers, strictly by what they're doing, and it was the same network. Devin Haney fought Lomachenko on ESPN pay-per-view. Teofimo Lopez fought Lomachenko on ESPN free TV, the same network. So the same people who were in charge to make Lomachenko versus Teo on free TV were the same people who were in charge to make Lomachenko versus Devin on pay-per-view. So the same people did not think that Teo was a draw, thought Devin was a draw. Same people. So it doesn't matter what anybody thinks, except for the people who are willing to put this on pay-per-view, because they believe they will be able to make more money if this fight is on pay-per-view versus putting it on free TV. Putting it on free TV, we're trying to build something. Putting it on pay-per-view means we've already built it. Now let's capitalize. Yeah. So telling me that Tank versus Teo is a bigger fight than Devin versus Tank, that's your opinion and you're entitled to it. But the people that make these events don't believe you. Don't believe you at all. Those people believe the bigger fight is Tank and Devin. Those people believe that Devin Haney is a draw. Regardless of what YouTubers or regardless of what articles and interviewers and other fighters, doesn't matter what the hell y'all say because you're not putting up the money. The people who are putting up the money believe that Devin is a draw. The people that's putting up the money know he's a draw, which is why they put him on back-to-back pay-per-views. The people putting up the money who are willing to give 20 million guaranteed are not just giving it willy-nilly. They're giving it because they believe the return on their investment will be even bigger. Hence the reason why you give it. Don't worry, you'll hear that. You'll see that later on. So stop telling me that you guys want the fight. We want the fight we want. It's the only fight we want. It's the only one. Blah, 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 blah. We shouldn't be talking about nobody else. We shouldn't be talking about nothing else. We shouldn't be doing nothing else. The only conversation we should be having is Tank and Devin, Tank, Devin, Tank, Devin, Tank, Devin, Devin, Tank, Devin, Tank, Devin, Tank, Devin, Tank. And then y'all go out here and start telling me that there's other fights bigger. Because if you're telling me there's other fights bigger, then what you're doing is you're giving Tank and his team an escape route. And I know y'all want to protect them. I'm just not going to allow it. Not over here. Y'all can keep trying to protect. I'm not protecting no fighter from nobody. Let them fight. A win don't make you and a loss don't break you. BFTB. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. I'm out.